1994. In South Africa, Nelson Mandela makes history as the first black president, and the world said farewell to the elegance of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. 1994 was also the year that innocence returned in fashion, with baby doll dresses and schoolgirl kilts. Adidas stripes went mainstream, and glamour returned with luxury fabrics and high style. Here's the best of 1994 from the runways of the world.
In Paris, homage is paid to the body beautiful everywhere you look. The Parisians just love to flaunt their good form. This season, the runways of Paris get physical too. No one knows how to flirt like Valentino. This season, Valentino turns on the charm with one of the most discreetly sexy collections in Paris.
The mood, I think, is a young mood, very snappy. Not anymore statement between long skirt and short skirt, because I put the two of them. I think women, they love to have short skirt again. And I did that, I make it in this way, very swinging, slitted, you can show lots of legs. I did lots of leggings matching with the dress and the shoes. This, I think, I like it very, very much. And also if the skirt, they are very short with those sort of slits, you show legs, but they are all covered with print, with flowers, so they look perfectly all right. You don't look naked at all. I try to mix lots of cardigan and little dresses, then they go together like twin sets, but they can be doubled, and they can go, the cardigan can go with a pair of trousers, my little top with lace, they can go with a long skirt or a short skirt. It's a collection where women, they can buy several pieces and they can mix it together very easily.
Easy was the name of the game at Valentino, as he made his fluid, ladylike look softer than ever.
Lots of Georgette I put in the collection, lots of lace. I took back from the past, make it today, my jacket, lingerie jacket with all the lace, mixed with top in linen and Georgette skirt, lace boots, lace stockings. I mean, romantic and very snappy in the meantime.
Lingerie looks pervade.
Fitted corselet, yes, then I took the idea from the old girdle, beginning of the century, and I put it with long skirt, short skirt in every sauce.
At night, Valentino shines with the most understated entrance makers.
Colors, of course, I carry with lots of red, navy blue and white, that is my favorite color for spring, lots of ivory, of course because of my lingerie look, and red again for the finale.
Red hot, drop-dead elegance. From Valentino. Valentino bride. Who was that blonde bombshell?
Beautiful Sharon Stone, and I think that she managed so well at the end. She said, "Why not? We have to be full of enthusiasm and full of guts, and to show the wedding gown." I think she did wonderful.
Sharon Stone. She's got that basic instinct. On the leading edge, British designer John Galliano took on Paris with a vengeance after a season-long absence. Long proclaimed one of the most talented designers around, Galliano proved himself this season with his highly directional collection.
The inspiration was a fictional character called Princess Lucretia, and She was made up of many facets of women, really. It's kind of like a fairy tale, and I wanted to start the show with her great-great-grandmother, who would have been like Anna Karenina escaping Russia. Very precious and was antique pieces, and she would have grabbed anything to do with the boudoir, a quilt, silks, her diamonds, stashed in her corset. And then it's kind of like a tale of self-discovery. So she goes to Scotland, where she comes across the Dotty Duke and Dotty Duchess, and that's all about technique and bias cutting. And inevitably she meets her prince and goes back to Russia to rewrite history.
Fairy tales aside, this imaginative 32-year-old Gibraltar-born designer created the newest kilt in years. To Galliano, the new message is about technique and elegance, and he confesses to an obsession with the great old couturier's palette.
They were all developed especially for me, the colours. They're kind of like colours that you don't necessarily see in the 20th century. They're from a different era, and we worked very hard to get that produced, and that was done in Paris, so that was good.
Slithering layers cut on the bias have become a Galliano signature. But it's John's tailored clothes with a twist that are incredibly elegant. Galliano is the first designer to combine British imagination and eccentricity with divine fashion madness, a technique on heroic French scale. And while Galliano made it look simple, it was complex and masterful.
Construction of the clothing is all to do with construction, not deconstruction, technique. I think fashion is about the joy of dressing.
An unfolding, enchanting narrative from John Galliano. Here are the trends getting the thumbs up in Paris. In a season that saw a return to the punk movement, the French designers zoned in on sexy erogenous zones. It's the best way to show off physical assets. With the body in mind, lingerie looks come out from under as the French show us their wares. Even hem lengths go to extremes, from thigh-high to ankle grazing. But there's a soft side to Paris, as billowing pants float in fluid, gently colored layers. Trends that flatter the French physique. Karl Lagerfeld is the torch that fuels the flames of fashion. Lagerfeld never disappoints when it comes to creating exciting clothes for today's woman. As one of the world's most prolific and imaginative of designers, Lagerfeld always knows what is right for the times.
This is a real winter collection, but you know, inside the houses in the winter, it's warmer than in the summer even sometimes, because they're heated. The jackets are very tight, very small. It's shown on really new generations of boys with tiny lycra sleeves, you know, on leather jackets or tweed jackets with huge coats and a new shirt, or the the body dress as the underlining of everything too. And you can wear cut 4 or 5 different colors and cut them short and make them long and whatever you want. You see, roll them up in the waist and have like a cover band and all those things. It's a fashion to play with.
And Lagerfeld plays with the skin dress, which he conceived last season. It's an idea to build upon.
We call the skin dress also the screen of modern decency. So, you know, even the evening dresses, when they have big slits, they have the skin skirt under it. So everything is decent, veiled. It's even a better feeling than just tights, you know. It gives something very modern and at the same time, because they can move as much as they want, and something very decent at the same time, but elegant, sexy.
His colors turn up the heat.
Basic colors with bright, bright touches of color. So it's more color to spotlight, you know. It's not all black, except for the evening where it's a big black roof. There are many color touches.
And touches of clear vinyl add spark.
For evening wear, I do lots of embroidery, but very simple, nearly minimalistic, and evening dresses and cocktail dresses who are totally weightless, out of little pieces of crepe satin, and the rest are geometric pattern of layering of tulle put together from 1 to 3 layers, so it makes a geometric pattern on the bottom of the woman. It makes flawless body, very nice geometric pattern in the back and on the top of the dress and on the hemline, things like this. It is completely weightless. Huh? Yeah, the main word was weightless.
Karl Lagerfeld, turning the technique of dressmaking toward the future. Watch out for Zulibet. It means keep your eyes open in Wolof, an African language.
Funkin' fashion, like Zulibet.
Zulibet is designed by Lamine Kouyaté, who literally crashed the fashion world when he and a busload of his models hijacked the attention of a crowd waiting to get into the Jean-Paul Gaultier show. Now he uses a floor of the Paris department store Samaritaine to show off his style. Kouyaté came from Africa 10 years ago to study architecture. Then he started making clothes from cut-up, patched-together flea market finds. Today, his label has become popular with the politically correct set.
You know, that's what I'm trying to do with my clothing, just to give some soul, some, you know, a bit free, you know.
Growing up in Mali, Africa, Kouyaté watched how people used old fabrics and materials to make other things. Now he works with bags of bargain basement finds to create his signature, deconstructed fashion. At the cutting edge of fashion's Reuse It movement, Lamine Kouyaté for Zulibet.
You know, other philosophy than just love and do what I can do for my neighborhood and for myself. Yeah.
Some say a great sense of style is part of the Italian culture. Here are some thoughts on why.
I believe that we Italians have a joy of living inside us, and it is reflected in our colors, our tailoring, and our fabrics. This is the basic difference, the way that we enjoy dressing ourselves.
Even if it looks casual, it's always thought about and put together well. The Italians are the only people that can do that.
Yeah, and it's just quality all the way, you know. That's the great thing about working here. Everybody cares.
Italian style is Italian life. I think we try to keep the quality as our flag. Quality in workmanship, quality in material, quality in relationship.
The Italians have the most remarkable craftsmanship. They really can do the handwork and the fine drawn work that has almost disappeared from the rest of the world today.
I think more and more that fashion is becoming universal. The way that Italian designers conceive their ideas is more or less the same way as other designers. Because fashion is so global now, the conception of ideas is all heading in the same universal direction.
Milan's Gianni Versace loves to take a walk on the wild side. His signature style is full of dazzling colors and ultra-sexy silhouettes. It's over-the-top dressing for women like Cher and Jane Fonda who want to be noticed. This season, he's as daring and sexy as ever.
In this collection, there is a study of simplicity, a study about what is modern today. What I try to do to design a new classic with the roots of rock and roll music, who has a global vision of life today. I try to reflect our time.
Versace takes a trip to the playground to find his version of the modern woman this season. It's a schoolgirl look that's naughty, yet nice.
Colors, all the color make people happy. Orange, red, bluette, yellow. I love color, I love art, and art gives a great emotion when you look at pictures, a painter, and I really like to use color.
Versace adds a dash of punk to keep the school bullies away this season, but while black is still present, color is as important as ever.
I think people is bored of beige. They want red and yellow and green and happiness, why life is so difficult in this moment for everybody. I never can say short is enough short or enough long. Why depend on women? Each woman have to understand herself, her legs, her age, and understand what fashion is in terms of her personality. You cannot talk in general. The tendance is short, but you must have your right short.
Versace is one of the fashion world's richest men, with an estimated $800 million empire, but he still prefers the creative side of designing.
More and more, I think fashion needs to reshape the image of creativity. The last 10 years was too much into business. Every designer became like an industrial man, businessman. They care too much, in my opinion, of business and less of creativity. I think creativity has become important again. You have millions of designers, and they become all the same. To me, is boring.
Whether Versace is showing punky leather or sexy evening gowns, the safety pin is the key accessory that holds it all together this season. Sweet but definitely not innocent looks from Gianni Versace. Blumarine's Anna Molinari is one of Italy's most successful designing women. With a yearly $80 million business, she knows what women want. And this season, she's delivering a look that's especially young and playful. She says that fashion should be fun as well as elegant.
This season, the collection is fresh and new because I feel that women should have fun and play with fashion. I had many reflections of this femininity in my collection, yet always keeping in mind the woman of the future, the woman of the year 2000. It's a style that's full of the joy of enthusiasm and the joy of living.
For spring, Molinari is making every woman feel like a child again. It's a girlish look that's soft and feminine.
The colors are predominantly white, a milky white, blue, beige, and black, which is very refined and sophisticated. The jackets are always very classic. 60% of the skirts are short and the others long. The pants are extremely classic, and the silhouette is very soft, very refined, almost minimalist.
Molinari's playfulness extends from hip jewelry to childish knee socks.
I love what I do, and I have fun with it. I've found that there are also many young girls who love the look, and so I just play with it.
Preppy plaids may suggest schoolgirl innocence, but Molinari's micro-mini lengths and peekaboo fabrics hint at a more naughty sense of style. All in all, it's blossoming with romance.
At the end of the show, I finished with this beautiful blooming of flowers. The models are in white and ecru dresses full of roses. And in the finale, the brides are completely surrounded by flowers.
Molinari's love of flowers has caused the Italian press to dub her the Rose Queen. With this season's emphasis on romance, she's right on target once again. That's Anna Molinari for Blumarine. Now here are the trends worth saluting in Milan this season. A battalion of officers and gentlemen rule the runways. Military looks pull the most rank. And it's time to earn your stripes as the Italians launch a stripe force. But dress blues and grays make every lady a gentleman. Looks that rank in Milan this season. On the Italian style front is the design duo of Domenico Dolce and Stefano Gabbana for Complice. This season, their battle cry fights to unite the world in peace and harmony.
The world is one. It's a round ball, and we are all put together within it.
The inspiration of Complice came from the United Nations, and we wanted to represent, to give a message of peace and unity in the world.
Ed era un simbolo di infatti l'apertura e la chiusura della sfilata era come l'ambasciatrice di pace nel mondo.
Dolce & Gabbana unify fashion while toasting the best of national costumes worldwide. Into this melting pot, they stir terrific ideas.
I tessuti sono tessuti vari di tutti I tipi.
The fabrics vary. We used all different types, and we did some research into the folklore of various countries and peoples. The production of wool, heavy in ponchos, in large sweaters made by hand. These are the knits that are in this collection, and they represent the knits that we see in Tibet, Peru, and Bolivia.
Perché è proprio colei che rappresenta la parte Tibet-Perù, la parte Bolivia.
Even Complice shearlings have ethnic flavor.
The sheepskins are something that are used very much in Arab cultures. They are something that is used quite often in Arabia and Morocco. It is the fur of the goat or ram, and they take this fabric and sew it, tailoring it in the way that we did, and this part of the collection was in celebration of this kind of craftsmanship and culture.
But Complice proves there's a new feminine movement on the battlefront as well.
We believe that right now women have had a tremendous amount of power in the world. They have always had it, but until now it was hidden in a way. But we are discovering women again and seeing that they surely have more power now than they ever did.
The Power of Complice by Domenico Dolce and Stefano Gabbana. For the first time since the punk movement, London Fashion Week was abuzz with vitality and excitement. Thanks in large part to sponsors such as Harvey Nichols and Perrier, Liberty and Vidal Sassoon, London is becoming once again a forum for developing young talent.
Well, I think it needs funds. I think it needs funding because we have seen over the last few years there's been some very, very good designers, but they have emigrated. Now we don't want that. We want, you know, if you've got creative talent in your country, then you've got to build on it.
My involvement goes back to being in their situation, not having the help that I needed and having literally to scrimp to get the collections together and then go take it from London to Paris to Milan and then New York. It was always a struggle. They're going through the same thing. We have to be involved. It's important.
Well, I think we've always been known for having new names, and basically, suddenly we've got at least 35 designers around who nobody really knows internationally, and people are very curious. They don't want to miss out on the new John Galliano, the new Vivienne Westwood, the new Rifat Ozbek.
Many of London's familiar names were on hand to show support for their young contemporaries.
I hope they all make it because it's, you know, it's a rough, hard world, and, you know, I think that's the popular misconception, is that we all live in a cloud of pink chiffon, and, you know, as you do know, it's a very hard, tough world that you have to work very hard at.
I think it's great because I think England has the best young, innovative designers, and our fashion colleges are really fantastic. And they really do produce some very talented people, and they've never had a chance to be shown. So the fact they get support and you can see them on the catwalk, I think is right.
I think it's very important. I think it's important that the industry supports the young talent who are just starting, and they are the talent of the future, and I think it's very important. The established designer like us can take care of themselves, but the young designer needs some help, and I think it helps everybody in the industry.
With his Blue Mood collection for fall, Abe Hamilton continues to lead the new wave of British designers. With shimmering fabrics and gentle layers, this sensual clothing artfully exhibits why Hamilton was chosen as British fashion's new generation Designer of the Year in 1993.
It's really exciting because I wasn't actually going to... The idea wasn't for me to actually continue in fashion when I left college. I was going to paint because I didn't really think the fashion industry was where I should be, because my work was so painterly and everything then was very structured. It was all lycra and shoulder pads. So that was 5 years ago when I left college, when I was doing very feminine, sensual things. So it's taken that time and the industry's actually changed, and now if I'm at the forefront of it, it's wonderful because I haven't changed anything to fit myself into anywhere. It's kind of happened, and I'm there at the front of it, so that's really exciting.
This season, Hamilton blends his trademark flowers and silhouettes with sponsor Wonder Bra's Wonder Body for a sexy look.
The collections that we've done have always been very feminine, very pure and very organic and very, it's really quite simple, and there's always been a flower theme throughout, but in a kind of very natural way. And so for this season we've incorporated that into all the fabrics that we're using and the Wonder Body. And the look that's come out of it, which wasn't predetermined, like we didn't think, I had no idea what the end thing was going to look like the hair and the makeup. It has, the look is really kind of like Paris sort of Colette boudoir. That's the sort of feelings that's come out of it. We've used mainly natural fabrics, silk organza, cotton voile, muslin, but we're using much more synthetic fabrics as well because the technology is quite amazing. Like the jersey that we used is actually 90% nylon, which you'd never believe, and it feels really luxurious. People expect you, especially with winning the new generation design of the year last season, I think people expect you to be able to then go a step ahead of that, which the sponsorship has allowed me to do, so that's fantastic.
Stepping ahead towards a fantastic future, Abe Hamilton. Now here are the trends that highlight the look of London this season. Forget loose layers. The body is back. Slinky knits become second skin as a body-conscious silhouette rules. Brilliant brocades light up the runways with dynamite texture. But for sheer madness, nothing beats the cozy shearlings flocking the London catwalks. And designers saw red this season as color returned to fashion. It's red hot, the look of London. One of the first of London's new generation to make a name for herself was Bella Freud. Since 1991, Freud has been hailed for her innovative, witty look at young sportswear. But Freud doesn't take her newfound fame too seriously.
Some people love to be serious, but I think for me, fashion is about sort of well-being and cheering yourself up. So I suppose that's what I feel my clothes are about, making yourself feel better and sort of high-spirited, and you can face the world without kind of blocking it all off.
If the name Freud rings a bell, it's because Bella's father is artist Lucian Freud, and her great-grandfather, famous Sigmund Freud. This season, Freud's woman dreams of tailored suits that mix the kitschy fun of the Old West with smart English sophistication. Soft pastels freshen the look.
I've always been very keen on pastels, but not sort of wishy-washy, sort of glamorous pastels and silk, sort of goldy sheen. So it's quite, I'm very influenced by the 19th century, and so I think that's where the colours come from. The thing of people getting dressed for the day in really pretty colours. So they feel well set up and they feel comfortable and everything, but they look sort of very soft and lovely.
Freud prescribes these fresh little dresses to chase away the summer blues. Her indigo knit gingham requires no analysis. While Freud's viscose twin sets liberate the fashion slave.
I think hemline is irrelevant, I must say. I mean, I think it's determined by, usually, if someone's got a good pair of legs, they usually want to show them. And some people feel much more comfortable in a long skirt, and it just sort of depends entirely sort of on who likes to show what, I think.
And you'll be sure to show off in Freud's sexy satin stunners for evening. Advice for today's woman, Bella Freud. Since graduating from London's Royal College of Art in 1990, top milliner Philip TREACY has been topping off the looks of leading international catwalk designers. This season, he staged his own catwalk show, placing the spotlight on his original designs.
The most important aspect of hat making for me is that it's a very exciting tactile craft, as in what I do when I work with all of the designers. I take a two-dimensional idea into a three-dimensional reality, and starting from scratch at one point in the day and coming up with a piece at the other end of the day. There's a great sense of satisfaction from actually having made something from scratch and to actually see it on the catwalk on the most beautiful girls in the world. I've never honestly tried to make an outrageous hat. I'm not trying to make a different hat, but I'm trying to make a modern hat. I think since clothes have become less designer-look clothing, the editors and the actual consumer looks to the accessory for the excitement today. So people are much keener on hats. It makes for conversation. People are immediately drawn to them. It sort of singles you out as something different. I think people are treating hats as something very special to buy and to acquire. I don't think they're treating it as fleeting as they were in previous times. The most important part of the hat for me is the wearer. So if they feel good in it, well, then the hat works.
A crowning achievement from Philip Tracy. New York City, the world's media center. For one whirlwind week in April, top international journalists converged at New York's Bryant Park for one big media event, the fashion shows. Though it might have sounded like a light assignment, some later said that it made covering a war seem easy. In any case, they all came to file a report on the latest trends for fall. And today, we'll be bringing you the highlights. While lots of fashion shows drew in the celebrities this season, one collection was truly an event. The designer, Todd Oldham, one of the brightest young stars on the fashion scene. This Texan always takes fashion to the cutting edge, but this season he went even further.
This one was all based on dreams, and dreams are really the only place that everything can exist without any sort of boundaries. So I worked with that without any boundaries. Usually I work with a few, but this was fun to work with no common color palette, no common sensibility. It was just sort of all over the place, like someone's closet, really. Well, you know, this is just my version of it. I hope that whoever gets a piece of it later will make it work for their version of it.
Oldham's designs are not for the shy. He's a firm believer that fashion should be fun and that humor should be an essential element of American style.
We're the reason for sportswear, being American, so I think coming from that mindset, but I've kind of lived all over the world, so I have a sort of a twisted version of it.
Oldham loves to mix and match prints with reckless abandon. It's a spirited look that strikes a chord with a growing list of celebrity clients, including Candice Bergen, Susan Sarandon, and Winona Ryder. Even men like Jay Davidson and RuPaul showed up at the show to get some wardrobe ideas. Oldham knows that every cloud has a silver lining, or at least a colorful one. He credits growing up poor in Texas to helping him develop a taste and appreciation for quality. While some young designers are born with the advantage of money, he managed to start his business with only a $100 loan from his parents and 50 yards of cotton. But while he's a success today, he still loves to explore thrift shops for inspiration. It's hard to feel sorry for yourself in one of Oldham's creations. Whether they're dipped in rainbow brights or extravagantly beaded, his designs and effervescent personality manage to bring a smile to everyone's face. The designer often treats fashion as a form of art, but this season he collaborated directly with some other New York artists to help create his whimsical masterpieces.
I had great fun working with a lot of different artists this time. Kenny Scharf, Danilo, Tom Bonaro, Ellen Birkenblit, Michael Economy, they all contributed prints, which was very fun. I worked with a lot of different people on this one.
Fashion with a dash of fun, from New York's king of kitsch, Todd Oldham. Richard Tyler first made his mark on the fashion scene back in his hometown of Melbourne, Australia. His specialty back then, tailored menswear. But today, he brings that experience to his designs for women. The perfectly cut jacket is the mainstay of his collection.
My mother was a tailor and she taught me how to sew, and I always did jackets. So and I love jackets. So, you know, if you have a great jacket, you can wear it forever. So I just love jackets, and I always start a collection on the jackets. I might design 40 jackets before I touch a blouse or a dress or a skirt. It's just the way I design. Every designer designs differently. And I was really inspired by the suffragettes, you know, women's rights, you know, but just not so, more in the 90s, you know, they'd taken from that feel, and women, like, they were so beautiful in what they were achieving and fighting for. So I just then, that's where all inspiration came from. It was just taken from that, just the feel. Just one like suffragettes, and then going to your grandpa's nightshirts, or, you know, that era, you know, just sort of playing everything down and having fun.
Sexy tailoring is Tyler's hallmark. For spring, he cuts his jackets ultra short or ultra long, but always with an eye towards complementing his clients' shapely figures.
Always I do very hourglass clothing, so I like to show the woman's body. So that's what I do. So there's a lot of white and black. I always do black and white. And yellows, a lot of taffetas, iridescent taffetas. We had cotton nets and woolens and a lot of linen, silk and linen, a lot of, you know, all wool, all beautiful fabrics.
Tyler is a relative newcomer to the New York fashion scene, but he's already conquered Hollywood. Years ago, he designed costumes for rock stars like Alice Cooper, Elton John, and Rod Stewart. Today, he's known as one of Hollywood's hippest designers to the stars, with a following that includes Julia Roberts and Angelica Houston. But he insists that his designs are as appropriate for the well-dressed girl next door as they are for Hollywood's elite.
Anyone who wants to have fun and be adventurous, you can wear this clothing to the office too. I mean, there's a lot of, if you look at it, there's a lot of really daytime suits and things, but just playing around and having fun with it.
That's this season's high-style tailoring from Richard Tyler. But first, here are the trends that made the headlines in New York. After years of black, color is making a comeback as a fresh new option for fall. It's perfect for those who wear so much black, they need a flashlight to look around their closets. Even the rich will be in need this season. The length that's getting the coverage is at the knee or just below. The A-line is the silhouette that's on every reporter's byline. And if next winter is half as cold as that last one, chic shearlings will be out in full force. And now, it's time for the collections. First, Isaac Mizrahi, a New York native who really knows how to put on a show. Before a packed house, Mizrahi presented his fall collection much like a performance on Broadway. What made this production special was that the backstage excitement was shared with the audience. By turning up the lights behind a scrim, the crowd got an early peek at the inspired and energetic looks that were about to spill out onto the runway.
My inspiration for Fall 95 was to somehow refine these very rough things that come from cold weather climates. I mean, you know, like fake furs, and somehow allow a woman to express her fantasies about being a woman and still maintaining control somehow. So to make it okay to wear like high heel shoes or a little tutu or, you know, fabulous pink or a big fur coat, you know, make it all okay so that you can somehow maintain control and at the same time just think like a woman. I want women to think like women now and not feel that they have to think like men in order to get ahead in a predominantly male, you know, world or something like that, because it isn't a predominantly male world anymore. I think of a woman walking down the street, and one of the main things I like to think my clothes do is attract. I like to make women attractive, you know? And so if it can't pass down a runway without boring everyone to tears, then it just can't pass down the street, you know? And honestly, I push things for the runway a little bit, and I honestly think that, well, this time I showed long skirts, short skirts, very long skirts, so I feel like it made the point, and also so that you could see them getting dressed. Somehow it takes the edge off it. It says, well, if they're getting dressed, you can see them getting dressed, then maybe you can put it together yourself. Maybe you can actually try a short skirt on. If you don't like it, put a longer skirt on. You know what I mean? I just want to open it up. Color for me is just a very natural instinct, and sometimes I feel like doing it a great deal and have a great appetite for it, and other times I don't, and this time I did. And, you know, I never see it as sort of a bright palette or a neutral palette or anything. I always see it as like, you know, like as if I was doing a sketch or a painting. I need a little of this and a little of that and a little of this. You know, that's how I end up seeing color, you know. And in fact, when you actually get the fabric, it becomes like something you can eat or taste. You know, it's a very, very sort of intense personal feeling what colors say.
And Isaac's colors say it beautifully this season on pastel shearling coats in shades with names like Poodle, Pepto, Powder, and Pez. Mizrahi's sense of theatricality may be due in part to the fact that he attended New York's legendary High School for the Performing Arts and even had a role in the movie Fame. Today, his exuberant and original sense of style attracts celebrity fans the world over. That's the show-stopping looks for fall from New York's headliner, Isaac Mizrahi.